Serbia, who recently warned that, listen what he says here, quote, we will have World War III within 3 to 4 months. This is very disturbing. This is from Hal Turner radio show, so we want to give the credit there. Again, the president of Serbia made this statement. He gave a television interview. Again, it was mentioned recently on the Hal Turner's radio show, wherein which he plainly stated that, quote, we will have World War within 3 to 4 months, even maybe sooner. He went on to say his people are being told to check their flour, their sugar, and their food supplies and prepare. Now, remember, he's not the only one making these statements, guys. Remember, there was also people in the United Kingdom making this statement, and other nations have also been telling their country to prepare. He outlines very clearly what is at stake for the collective West as it relates to the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict, and how if the West loses, it falls apart politically and loses respect of the entire world. But if Russia loses, their country will no longer exist as it is shaped today. And then there was, I'm going to refresh your memory. We reported on this last year. If you guys are new to the program, you may not have remembered this, but we did discuss this and we talked about this. I want to read this article, and as you can see the date here, if you're watching the visual of this, if you're listening by Apple or by Spotify, this was reported on June 14th, so it's almost a year to the date. Almost nearly a year ago to this day, 2023. I want to read this. One nuclear-armed Poseidon torpedo could decimate a coastal city, and Russia wants 30 of them. All right, I'm going to read a little bit of this. Imagine finding yourself on a serene seashore only to realize that a catastrophic tsunami is imminent. However, this is no ordinary tsunami. This is one that is radioactive. In January of last year, the Russian news agency TASS, T-A-S-S, reported that Russia had produced the first set of nuclear-powered, very long-range, nuclear-armed torpedoes known as Poseidon. Strategic experts are warning that the Poseidon torpedo would have, listen to this, the potential to devastate a coastal city, Florida, cause radioactive floods, and result in millions of deaths. I want to say that again. Come on, this is serious stuff, guys. Russia has in its possession these Poseidon long-range nuclear-armed torpedoes capable of producing radioactive tsunamis. In fact, this report says over the past few years, tabloid news outlets have painted a hauntingly vivid picture of a towering 1,000-foot-tall radioactive tsunami violently crashing into British shores, pulverizing everything in its path and transforming whole cities into barren, lifeless lands. In ancient Greek mythology, Poseidon was revered as the god of the oceans, protector of sailors and those who work or traveled at sea. In the current context, Poseidon takes on a different meaning, with a destructive weapon capable of causing catastrophic events. This Poseidon that Russia possesses was first revealed by the Russian Navy back in 2015 and was reportedly tested for the first time in November of 2016. Some of y'all remember this. The torpedo, a nuclear-powered underwater drone equipped with nuclear weapons, is designed to be launched from submarines. Are you hearing me? The first Poseidon is expected to be deployed by 2027. However, there is buzz that this new weapon is posed to shake the landscape of modern warfare, and this may owe less to its borrowed name than to some unmatched features, at least on paper. Let me give you a little bit of some technical stuff here. This thing is powered by a compact nuclear reactor. It is believed that Poseidon could travel at an unprecedented speed of about 185 kilometers per hour. It can have a range of approximately 10,000 kilometers and operate at depths of up to 1,000 meters. It is designed to evade detection by acoustic tracking devices and other traps. The Poseidon has a diameter of approximately 1.6 to 2 meters, particularly riveting its torpedoes' devastating payload, nuclear warhead with a likely yield of at least literally several megatons. For comparison, Russia's Tsar Bomba, the most powerful nuclear weapon ever tested, had an estimated blast yield of about 50 megatons. But some experts are saying that this weapon, this Poseidon, will be able to have the capability of 100 megatons. Now, I thought this was interesting when I was putting this research together. Yet another warning from seismologists has just come across the wire this week. Here's the headline, quote, scientists warn that a 9.0 earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone could send a 100-foot tall tsunami slamming into the west coast. Now think about what we just talked about. Now, of course, we're getting into a tectonic shift on a fault line producing, again, of a magnitude 9.0 that would cause or generate a tsunami of this magnitude. But again, I want you to go with me and think about a hypothesis for just a moment. What if we had a Russian nuclear sub with one of these Poseidon bombs, torpedoes, if you would, on its payload, in it, and it was to release this on a coast, and this could trigger and produce what they're saying is a 100-foot tsunami that would be radioactive. Now, according to a recent report, Russia has abruptly changed its nuclear drill scenario. This was yesterday, it was 2 days ago. It, again, abruptly changed its entire scenario, moving it closer to NATO borders. This comes a day after Moscow and its ally Belarus launched joint drills aimed at training their troops in tactical nuclear weapons. This also comes as a report came across, this was yesterday, we reported this, over 300,000 NATO troops on high readiness to tackle threat from Russia. This report indicates that NATO has now surpassed its goal of placing 300,000 troops on high readiness, a significant move in response to the threat from Russia. A senior alliance official told the Associated Press recently that this development comes as part of NATO's strategic overhaul following Russia's invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago in 2022. Quote, after Moscow's aggressive actions in Ukraine, NATO leaders committed to significantly boosting the number of forces ready for rapid deployment. The plan aimed to ensure commanders within the alliance could mobilize substantial troop numbers within 30 days. This move is considered a major shift in NATO's approach, reflecting the alliance's recognition of the heightened security risk in Europe and the need for rapid response capabilities. There's another headline. Putin's fleet of warships in Cuba is direct warning to Biden. A direct warning to Biden. Sleepy Joe. Here's another report from Reuters. Russians are told to mobilize to inflict, quote, maximum harm on West in response to sanctions. Again, you can see the article was dated. This was posted yesterday. So this is only 24 hours old. I want to read a little bit of this. One of Russia's top security officials called on Thursday for Russians to mobilize to inflict maximum harm on Western societies and infrastructure as payback, look at this, as payback for increasingly tough sanctions being imposed on Moscow by the U.S. and its allies. What does this even mean? What does maximum harm mean? It says, again, I quote, on Western societies and its infrastructure. Wait a minute, stop. Remember how the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, the CIA, all these agencies have been warning us about attacks and vulnerabilities to our infrastructure, our water supply, our grid, our power grid system, all this stuff. And here you are, again, and here is a report that is stating that top Russian officials are calling on Russians to mobilize to cause maximum harm to Western societies and their infrastructure. I want to read this to you. Quote, we need to respond, not only the authorities, the state, but all our people in general. This, to me, this sounds like a war. This sounds like a declaration of war, does it not?